screens. All right. Can you guys see the screen, my lesson 3? Okay. Okay, go ahead and get out page 38, lesson 3. Going to get started. And you should also have a pencil with you. Yes, Eli. Do you have a question, Eli? Yeah, unmute yourself.
Can I tell you a joke?
Joke, quick.
Okay. Have you heard of this one? Why are ducks so bad at driving?
Why are ducks so bad at driving? Why?
Because the window is cracked.
I get it. That's a good one. Gwen, do you have a question?
Yeah, I did this assignment yesterday.
I know. We're gonna go over. You got it. We're gonna go over it, and there's more to it. Okay.
Okay.
Shreya, question?
It suddenly said my seesaw. The new class code you gave me, it said the seesaw class code expired, so now I cannot use seesaw. And it said ask you to get a new one.
Oh. Okay. It should not do that. You should be able to just log in. I don't know why it's doing that. Okay, I'll email me, and that'll remind me. Yes, Jane.
I have another joke, but this one's quick.
Okay.
Where's the safest place to stay away from the zombie?
Where?
The living room.
These are good. Okay. All right, let's go through this lesson because the sooner we start this lesson, the sooner we can go to lunch. So you're on page 38. We did this lesson yesterday. I just want to go over it real quick because and just review it because yesterday was super glitchy and we lost a lot of students on our Zoom. I'm starting to learn. I had IT in my room again all day today because the D-Hub wing is really struggling with our connection. And we've tested all the things. It is not my internet connection. It's actually, I think Zoom is what the problem is. So Zoom is becoming the issue. So we're kind of trying to work on that. So once again, I think it's very important that logging off, logging back in, sometimes closing out Zoom completely and rebooting your computer is helpful. I know I go home every night and I restart my computer and that has helped a little bit, but just keep that in mind. Okay, so yesterday we were describing or telling about the connections between historical events in a text that will then help you understand how and why events in history happened. So we have a historical event, and that's something that happened way in the past. And there are ways to connect the different things that have happened in the past. So to connect means to fit two or more things together. So we talked about first, next, and last. So we talked about this little, this friend over here, and we talked about how she was building something and she was wrapping a gift, and then she gave the gift to her friend. So we did our first, next, last, that she was making something, she wrapped the gift, and then her last thing being that she gave the gift to her friend. So that was our first, next, last. That was with just a little string of pictures. Now we're going to be reading a story. Hold on, let me admit some friends in. Today we're going to be reading a story now on page 40. And this is a new flag for a new nation. And as I read to you guys and you guys follow along, I want you to be thinking about the first, next, last, because we're going to be filling in the rest of this chart, this first, next, last chart, okay? So following along as I read, let me make sure, for some reason I cannot see my, let me stop sharing for just 1 second. Okay, there it is, perfect. Okay, so you are on page 40. You have your pencil ready to go, tracking finger ready to go. All right, let's go. This is a flag for a new nation. So we're on paragraph 1. This is by Teresa Roberts. As we read, I want you to be thinking about why Betsy Ross made a flag. Why Betsy Ross made a flag. Following along. And I'm going to wait till all of my friends are ready to go. So you have your tracking finger ready to go, your packets in front of you, your pencils in front of you. You're following along. Addison is ready. Adrani is ready. Gwen is ready. You're on page 40. Zay is ready. I wish Maya would put the balloon away and be ready. Jalen's ready. All right, let's go ahead and begin. A long time ago in the 1700s, oh, that was a long time ago. We're in the 2000s now. In the 1700s, the United States was not a country yet. People lived in 13 colonies. The colonies belonged to England. The people in the colonies wanted to be free. They decided to fight for freedom. The people needed a flag that would stand for all 13 colonies. General George Washington wanted a flag that everyone would recognize. It would unite the 13 colonies. Where would this flag come from? Paragraph 2. One story says that first General George Washington went to see Betsy Ross. She had a sewing shop in Pennsylvania. He asked Betsy Ross if she would make a flag for the 13 colonies. She said yes. Betsy Ross made a flag with 13 stars and 13 stripes. Each star and stripe stood for a colony. Paragraph 3. The flag that Betsy Ross made was an important symbol in the fight for freedom. It helped the colonists feel proud. Soon the colonies would become one country. This new flag would stand for the United States of America. So that was our first read. Second read, I'm going to reread it. Now I want you to be thinking about our first, next, last. So what happens first, what happens next, and what happens last. Okay, and you can use page 41 to support you. So you might want to glance at page 41. Okay, so we're gonna reread this. A new flag for a new colony. Does anyone have an idea though of why Betsy Ross made the flag? Does anyone have an idea? And I'll take a blue hand. I'm gonna lower all hands. Gwen, I'll take your question a little later about that, okay? Shreya, what should we underline? Why did Betsy Ross make a flag?
Why did Betsy Ross make the flag? Is because the flag, like they know that's the country, or
Colonies.
yeah, colonies.
Okay, so that they knew the colonies. Who asked Betsy Ross to create a flag for the 13 colonies? Do we remember who asked? And I'll take a blue hand. Who asked Betsy Ross to make a flag? Checking for understanding here. Everyone's hand should remember and go up. Adrani, who asked, everyone else type in the chat, Adrani, who asked Betsy Ross to make a flag?
General George Washington.
General George Washington, and he ended up being the first president of the United States. So General George Washington, and that would be, he asked Betsy Ross if she would make a flag for the 13 colonies. She said yes. Okay. All right. So underline that. Now we're going to reread. I want you to be thinking about what happens first in this history article, what happens next, and what happens last. Following along as I read. A long time ago in the 1700s, the United States was not a country yet. Adrani, will you just mute yourself? People lived in 13 colonies. The colonies belonged to England. The people in the colonies wanted to be free. They decided to fight for freedom. The people needed a flag that would stand for all 13 colonies. General George Washington wanted a flag that everyone would recognize. It would unite the 13 colonies. Where would this flag come from? One story says that first General George Washington went to see Betsy Ross. She had a sewing shop in Pennsylvania. He asked Betsy Ross if she would make a flag for the 13 colonies. She said yes. Betsy Ross made a flag with 13 stars and 13 stripes. Each star and stripe stood for a colony. The flag that Betsy Ross made was an important symbol in the fight for freedom. It helped the colonies feel proud. Soon the colonies would become one country. This new flag would stand for the United States of America. Okay, so we know that Betsy Ross made a flag for General George Washington. Now let's fill out this first, next, last chart. So what happened first? And this is kind of going off of what Adrani said earlier. What happened first? Who did General Washington go see? Type it in the chat. Who did General Washington first go see about the flag? Went to see who? Who did he go to see? Type it in the chat. Type it in the chat. Okay, I see lots of Betsy Ross. So you are going to write General Washington went to see Betsy Ross. Write it. Betsy Ross. So first he went to go see Betsy Ross about the flag. And what did he ask Betsy Ross to do? He asked Betsy Ross to do what? Write it in the chat. General Washington asked Betsy Ross to, good Gwen, type it in the chat. Awesome. I see lots of friends writing in. Good. Thank you, Emily, Adrani, Mia, Bailey, Kendall, and Shreya, and Gwen for typing in good Sahaj. I see lots of, General Washington asked Betsy Ross to make a flag. So first, General Washington went to go see Betsy Ross. He's like, hey, what's up, Betsy? Can you make me a flag? That's what happened next. What happened at the end? So now she's been asked to make the flag. What did she do then? She went and what? Type it in the chat. What did she do? What did she do? Good, you guys. You guys are getting it. Yeah, she said, yeah, George, I'll make you a flag. And she sewed the first flag. So Betsy Ross said yes. And made, actually I'm gonna say sewed a flag. Or sewed the first flag. You guys are working so hard today. I'm gonna give another point for class. You guys are working so hard. Okay, and once you hold up your first, next, last chart for me, you are free to go to lunch. And I want you to get lots of wiggles and movement out. And then when we come back today, we will finish up with Friday journal. And then we will be pretty much done for the day. Remember, friends who need to do the unfinished work, it's due today. So if you have extra time, I suggest going and working on that. Zay, Emily, Jane, Gwen, Sahaj, Adeline, you're good to go. Adrani, Mia, Kendall, and Maya, you are good to go. Ojas, Alan, Bailey, you're good to go. Gwen, stay here, okay? And I'll take your question in just a minute, okay? Shazabe, Jenna, Jalen, Maddie, you're good to go. Shreya, you are good to go. Addison, hold it back just a little bit. There we go. You are good to go, my love. Eli, you are good to go. Orion, you are good to go. Enjoy your lunch. Gwen, what's your question?
I was gonna ask, and what if I don't finish my iReady? I'm gonna work on my iReady after school because I only have 10 more minutes left for it until I get 30.
Okay, so just do, yeah, you can do it after school. I already told you yes. You're good on that.
Yeah.
Okay, you're good. All right, Wyatt, enjoy your lunch, buddy, okay? Let's see what you wrote.
Let me show you what I
Yeah, can you show me? Yeah. Good job, Wyatt. I like your spaces in between. Awesome. Enjoy your lunch, bud, okay? And I'll see you in a bit.